Good morning. Today we're going to talk about how much nurse practitioner school actually costs. So if you're curious, or if you just want to know, or if you're planning, this is the video for you. A little bit of my backstory. I am in my third semester. This is my second year starting nurse practitioner school in the whole kit and caboodle. I go to University of Tennessee Health Science Center. It's not a very prodigious school, but it's definitely where we get a lot of our doctors here in Memphis. So, for the first 3 semesters, I have been charged from the school a total of $19,997. That's not a small amount. That's not a small amount whatsoever. I still have 4 semesters to go. So you can say double that, so that's 40 grand plus another, what do they charge every semester? 7. So 47 grand. 47 grand is our total for just paying the school. There's not really any taxes including that, so let's say 47 grand. Now, what about supplies and books each semester? And it's been a little different each semester, so you had to buy an otoscope, then when did you get this fancy stethoscope? I'm just gonna base it off of what is about the average. So I'm just gonna go off the books that I bought this semester. So this semester I paid $500 for my books. So let's say $500 per semester in just generalized supplies, because I had to get a lab coat, just little different things. 500 times 7 semesters, that's going to be 3,500. Public math, I'm doing pretty good here. So our total then, with the books and like the generalized supplies, is going to be $50,500. That's over a 3-year period, so you're like, is it worth it? I don't know. So as a nurse, you can generally make 60, 70, 80 grand with no overtime, depending on where you work, whether you work nights, whether you work weekends, it changes. As a nurse practitioner, let's say 70 as a nurse. As a nurse practitioner, you're gonna make about 110. So that's 40 grand the first year. I think that's worth it. So if you were to take this in a loan, you could pay it back easily without changing your lifestyle in a year and a half. That is your profit margin. I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. The only thing that still kind of gets me a little bit on the price is that you have to put all the time into the clinicals. So like if you add up all the time that you put in the clinicals, how much are you wasting there? But we'll get into that here in a second. For now, let's just talk about what the actual cost is. Now, here in the state of Tennessee, there's an educational credit. So this is over a 3-year period or a 3 fiscal year period. That's important because you get $2,500 back in your taxes every year. So you can recycle $7,500 of that 50.5. What that means is at the year after every school year, you get $2,500 extra tax credit in your taxes that you can then rotate back into school. So we'll take that off the top, $5,500. So that brings our total down to $43. Now, I've already been charged, or I'm already going to pay 20 grand this year, okay, total. But from this point forward, each semester, because I have accepted a federal grant, so what happened was I applied to be a part of a federal grant out in Lake and Lauderdale County. Why would I do that? Because I live in Shelby County. It's going to be about an hour and a half drive one way. Why would I do that? Well, number one, it ensures me a clinical placement site. Number two, at the end of each semester, as long as I do at least 41% of my clinical hours out there, I will get roughly 50% of the semester's costs back to me. That doesn't include any extra gas money or anything like that, or time that I lost. But that's okay. That is okay. Because I got to cut this cost somehow, because I do not have 30 grand just sitting around ready to go. So I got to cut it down somehow. If I'm going to be paying another 30 grand in my nurse practitioner education, I needed a way to be able to cut it somehow. So I accepted the grant. Or I applied the grant, got in, accepted, all that nice jazz, did all the rigmarole and whatnot. So that takes the 30 grand that I'm going to be paying in the next 2 years, or a year and a half really, down to 15 grand. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is what I need. So roughly, if you consider the money that I'm going to recycle through taxes and the money that I'm going to be saving by doing the federal grant, I am going to have to pay, that's going to stay out of my pocket, 13 grand. When I say stay out of my pocket, like I'll pay a little bit and then pay a lot, get a little back, pay a lot, get a little back, and just keep rotating my money like that. But back to the overall cost. So the overall cost for the program without recycling any money, again, is, does anyone remember? 55 grand. Nope. 50 grand and $500. $50,500. First semester, we had basically no clinical hours. Second semester, we had 60 hours. From third semester on, we will have 240 clinical hours we have to do each semester. So 240, 240, 240, 240, 240. Add it all together. I don't know what that is. Let me get my calculator out. 240 times 5 is 1,200. Plus 60. is $12.60. Woo! All right. So 1,260 hours I'm giving to them for free. And, you know, some people look at it differently, but I'm kind of under the impression that my job when I go to a clinical is that I want to make your job easier and I want to do all of your job. Learn your job so that you don't really need to be there except for supervision. I don't know how other people look at it, but that's kind of what my goal is when I get there. So I'm going to work pretty hard. So it's going to cost me physically $50,500 to pay just to have the privilege to work for other people and to go to school and everything else. You have the books. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Now, how much am I losing in just how much that money would pay? So $12.60, and just multiply by your hourly rate. I'm going to go ahead and be honest with y'all. I make $35 an hour. So times 35. Wow. Well, that is $44,000. $44,000. That is how much I would have gotten paid if I had worked those hours somewhere where I was actually getting paid. That's crazy. So that makes the total cost, if you can include the time that you're working on the clinicals, and not even talking about studying time, testing, checkoffs, all that nice jazz, that's just a total loss of $94,000. Man, it's a bit harder of a pill to swallow. Doesn't include drive time, doesn't include anything else. Woo! I hope it works out. The main takeaway I want you to have from this is that it's going to cost about $8,000 per semester if you include your supplies and books and stuff. And then like weird like drug tests, background screens, that kind of thing. I forgot to even add in that because every year you have to go through that stuff. $8,000 a semester is not too terrible. Not too terrible. It would be easier if I had more money, I'm going to be honest. But it's not terrible. It's doable. It's doable to be successful and to be able to put yourself in a better position for your family. That's the breakdown. Word up. As far as like, can you actually handle it? I'm not the brightest person. I'm pretty smart, but I think what it really comes down to is more effort if you're willing to put the effort in. Because each semester there was like a moment where I was like, all right, it's time to dig deep. It's time to get into it. It's time to make it happen. If you're one of those people, if you can make it happen, because I do have a wife, I have an 11-year-old son, I have other obligations, and I work. If you have the grit and the determination to actually get in there and make it happen when it counts, you can do this. It's not crazy. I mean, it's high-level stuff. I will say there's some high-level stuff in there, and it has to be. This is a doctorate program. But it hasn't been unattainable. It's been pretty realistic, and I've made some good connections, and I really do enjoy the actual practitioner side of it. I enjoy nursing and take care of people, but being a practitioner is different. Like, comment, subscribe. You know what to do. Hit that like button. And remember, Loganites, always keep your corn on the cob. I don't even know why I say that anymore. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm an adult. Like, doesn't make any sense. Keep your corn on the cob. Well, I do like my corn on the cob, but that's a whole different conversation. I don't know. Why are we still talking about this? Look, I do want to show you something that's funny. You see this right here? This is a $100 bill that I put up underneath I stapled underneath my desk because I thought I was going to have like 10,000 subscribers, and I was like, I'll give $100 to one of my first 10,000 subscribers. Obviously, that has not happened. That was like a year ago. So, there's still a $100 bill sitting here.